Hi friends, welcome back to 3 Barrow Farm. It is a fresh morning and I'm going to pop on some more layers just so I'm nice and warm. I've got my gloves as well because my hands are really cold. I think it's going to be a top of 15 degrees today, although the sun is out and the sun is beautiful when it is out. There are a few clouds up in the sky. So the sun will be coming and going. Got my radish mitts on that I knitted myself. So I hope you're all having a beautiful start to autumn. Over the last few months, I have been doing lots of harvesting and preserving of our fruit and vegetables that we grow here on our homestead. Back in February, I harvested a wonderful crop of carrots and blanched a good amount of them to store in the deep freezer in Ziploc bags. These carrots are sweet chutney reds. I diced them up before blanching them, as this is the way we cut our carrots mostly when we're cooking them. To blanch the carrots, you boil them up for around 10 minutes and then put them into cold water with ice in it. This stops the cooking process, and then once they have been in the cool water for a while, I drain them out in a colander and then I pack them up into Ziploc bags. I've found having blanched carrots in the freezer to be a game changer since I started growing carrots. I didn't have as much this year as I have in previous years, but it's great to know that there are some carrots in the freezer. We can get access to quite cheap organic carrots up here, so I feel okay that we haven't grown as many carrots as we normally do. However, I'm thinking that once we've worked through those blanched carrots, or even beforehand, just because of the cost of food and the prices that may go up, I might purchase some of those cheap organic carrots that we can get our hands on and blanch them in this way. So you can do this as well. If you ever find carrots at a really reasonable price and you want to buy a whole heap of them, but you're not sure how to store them for a long period of time, blanching them and then freezing them is the best. Each summer, when we are bringing in a large variety of vegetables, I make vegetable stock paste in my Thermomix. It's a great way to have fresh vegetable stock from our homegrown vegetables year round. I try to make as much as I can, and this time around I attempted to freeze it in ice cube trays, but it didn't freeze well. It didn't actually go solid. It was still squishy, and I believe this is because of the high amounts of salt in the paste. So instead, I've placed them into loads of small containers in the freezer, and being in the freezer, this will keep it for a bit longer, but I take one out at a time and keep it in the fridge, and it does actually keep in the fridge for a long period of time, for up to a month or two. We haven't had the best year for cucumbers this year, but when I have harvested cucumbers, I have turned them into refrigerator pickles. We love pickles, and making refrigerator ones are the best and easiest way for me to process the cucumbers. I'll link a recipe below that I make year after year, and these pickled cucumbers last us a whole 12 months if I make enough to store in the fridge and keep for that period of time. Sometimes we eat through them faster than other years. So it was a pretty fantastic year last year when we grew cucumbers, and we had enough to see us through till spring. And so then we had a little bit of time between where we didn't have any pickles, but it makes you appreciate them even more when you finally have the cucumbers growing again and you can make your pickles. When our power goes out, the first thing that we worry about are our fridges and our freezers. And after all the effort that we've put into growing and preserving our food this season, it's good to know that with BLUETTI, we now have a backup for our fridge and freezer. BLUETTI have come out with a new streamline unit called Fridge Power, which can sit above or be be mounted on the wall next to your fridge or freezer and be a backup power source if the power goes out. It's nice to be reassured that if our off-grid system here failed, our fridge would still have power for around 2 to 3 days with the Fridge Power unit and the BlueCell 200 connected to it. BLUETTI's Fridge Power backup system allows you to supply as much as 1,800 watts of continuous power with 3,000 watts lifting and 3,600 watts peak power. It can run even high startup appliances, and with the added BlueCell 200s, it can supply another 2,016 watt hours to 8,064 watt hours and can power your fridge for up to 4 days, depending on your fridge. They can slide above your fridge or sit on top of your fridge, or in our case, they sit beautifully on top of our wooden frame that surrounds our fridge. They come with legs that can lift them up off your fridge, so there's ventilation. There's also the option to mount the units to the wall. This unit can also be connected and recharged with solar power. So if the power still hasn't come on and you have the ability to charge it with solar, then you can do this. This streamlined unit can not only keep your fridge going, but it can also charge your phones or other devices as well. There are 2 AC outlets on the back, and with the added BlueCell 200 batteries, you can run multiple things with this unit. We store quite a lot of the last of our harvests in the fridge, and we slowly move through eating this last harvest. So it's great to know that if something does happen to our power, we still have that food staying fresh in our fridge. But it's not only the food that we've grown, but the food that we've purchased as well. So we're not wasting that hard-earned money on wasting that food when the power does go out. People often think that because we're off-grid, we have continuous power, but this is not true. We do lose power from time to time because of faults in the system, or something's happened, or there's not been enough sunlight to charge our solar batteries. And our deep freezers can keep things frozen for quite some time after the power does go out, as long as we don't open up those deep freezers. Everything stays pretty solid for a long time, but our fridge is the one that starts to heat up the quickest. So this is perfect for our fridge and our small freezer that we have in our house. We do hold a lot of food in the freezer in the house as well. So I'm really, really excited to have this addition to our solar system. Our power often only goes off for a few hours. And while we're figuring out the issue or waiting for an electrician to arrive, we can be assured that if it goes out for longer and we are away from the property, that this unit will kick in immediately and keep our fridge going until we can sort out the issue with our off-grid system. We can now go away for a weekend and be assured that with this power station plugged into our fridge, we're not going to lose the food that we have stored in there. You can basically plug this in, set it up, and leave it alone. When the power does go out, it will automatically kick in, and then when the power comes back on, it will automatically start charging as well, without disturbing the function of the fridge and freezer that you've got it plugged into. The units are also very quiet as well. They have a low hum when they're charging up and when they kick in as well. So it's actually quieter than our fridge. Our fridge makes quite a bit of noise at times. So this unit won't disturb you when it does kick in. It's very quiet, and this is one function that I love about it as well. I am height deprived, so having this little screen on the front of the fridge to tell us what's happening with this system here is fantastic. It is magnetic, so you can place it on the fridge and see what's happening with your fridge power unit from right in front of you. And this screen not only tells me what's happening within this unit and the fridge, but it tells me what the temperature is and what the humidity is in our house. There's also an app So when you're away from the house, you can see how your fridge is performing while you are away. And if the power has gone off, you can see the BLUETTI kicking in. We also have an app for our solar system, so we can see when the power does go out or when there is a struggle with the power. And so having these apps in place, we can see everything that's going on here on our property while we're away. I am not technical minded, but this was pretty simple to install. I did have the assistance of my son to connect the Bluetooth and everything to my phone and then to connect to this and do updates as well. It was pretty simple and easy to follow instructions in the instruction manual as well. So this system is pretty easy to put into place. It is quite heavy. The unit is around 19 kilos, so you will need help lifting it onto the top of your fridge or mounting it onto the wall. I do love BLUETTI's sleek and simple design with this Fridge Power setup, and I'm convinced that most people would be able to work it out and set up this unit. This is my first time using a BLUETTI product, and I'm quite blown away with it. This is probably something that is really useful for us to have because occasionally we do have power outages or issues with our solar system, and having this as a backup is a huge peace of mind for us. If you'd like to check out the new BLUETTI Fridge Power, there is a link in the description of this video. I highly recommend checking out all of BLUETTI's products. I'm looking forward to really seeing how this performs over the next few months, especially going into winter when we tend to have some power issues here with the cloudier days that come and we're not getting as much solar power as we do through summer. So this is going to be a wonderful addition to our homestead. So I'm really excited about this product in particular. Dehydrating is one of the easiest ways to preserve herbs and fruit. I've dehydrated basil, oregano, and many other herbs, including chamomile. We have the most massive chamomile patch, and every year I love to harvest as much as I can and dehydrate it so that we can have some nice calming teas throughout winter. We always dehydrate apples each season because we have over 100 fruit trees and most of them are apples. But I've never dehydrated prune plums before. We harvested so many kilograms of prune plums from only one tree this year, but we dehydrated them as well as eating them, and I bottled some as well. And this enabled us to prolong the months that we can eat this delicious fruit. One of my favorite fruits that comes from this garden are the prune plums. If you have room enough to plant another tree, plant a prune plum, you won't regret it. They are so sweet and delicious. And by dehydrating them this year, we've got our own dried prunes. They're ready to eat. They are, of course, different to the shop purchased ones because we haven't coated them with anything. We've just dried them purely as they are. What we did was we cut them in half, we got rid of the pip, and then we sort of pushed the inside out a little bit so that they would dry well. I haven't had the energy to bottle tomatoes like we normally do. And thankfully, the harvest hasn't been as big as previous years, so I haven't felt that guilt of not bottling it all. I have been processing them in the Thermomix by whizzing them up and then cooking them slightly to get rid of any air bubbles. And then I've been putting them in containers in the freezer. I've done this with both the cherry tomatoes and with the big ones too. We have been so fortunate to have peaches this year. The past few years of hail during spring, when the peaches are in their blossom, has led to no fruit. But this year we got some beautiful peaches. I bottled up some of them, but the rest were eaten fresh. I'll tell you what, that last bowl of peaches, we were savoring it. I was so sad when I ate my first designated peach. Everybody had their equal amount to eat because they were so beautiful. And it just reminds you how precious it is to eat in the seasons and to enjoy something when it's at its most beautiful in flavor and nutrition. I've also been bottling up apples and plums. I've had a few bottles that didn't seal as well. I wasn't sure why they weren't sealing, but in the end, I realized that some of the clips are very old now, having been used for decades by my husband's grandfather before we started using them. And now I'm getting 100% success after ditching those older clips. I'm preserving the fruit in a light syrup. It's an easy way to get the fruit bottled up and lasts for years on our shelves. I've got so much fruit to continue preserving, and at the moment I'm filling our small fridge with what's harvested fruit-wise and then chipping away at bottling it up slowly. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Please let me know in the comments below what you have been bottling up recently or how you've been preserving your autumn bounty at the moment. I'd love to hear what you have preserved this season. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you again very soon. I feel like this tomato hedge is going to fall onto me.